We have our review for Neon Cyber Uprising. So I think everybody, both your and my reaction to this comic were pretty similar.
Yeah.
I read this because I had some free time at work, and I immediately texted you, and I said, "Have you read Neon yet?" You said no, and I was like, "Well, it has to jump to the top of your read list."
And it didn't because I was like, I really want to get the physical. That's like
I know
my
it's
thing.
your
I'm
thing.
like,
I'm a
I always
digital
want to get
guy,
the
so
physical version. So, but then you were like, it's really good. It's like I just wanted more of it right now. And when I read it the other day, I was like, damn, this is really damn good. I was like, how could it just end? It's over, and I don't have more to
and it
read
was a
yet.
pretty decent length comic. It was
It
like
is.
33 pages or something like that.
It's just standard length comic, and it's just so good that it goes so quick. Is what it was.
Yeah.
It was. Oh, this comic is just excellent. It's like so well written, extremely well paced. Like I flew through the thing, and I was like, "That's it."
Yeah. Yeah, you wanted more. And a lot
But
happens.
like
It,
but a lot
it's not
happens. It's
like
not like that. We're not when we say that's it. We mean it in like a good way. We were like, oh my god, that was so good. I just consumed it so quick. I just wanted it again. Like it was. It's absolutely
incredible.
the story. Yeah, the world building, the just the way it's just written out. Like obviously he knows where the story's going, and Stephen Coburn is the writer, but it's in the same breath. It's also setting up uh, different, like as you're reading, it's setting up different branches that where you could branch out to more stories. We could branch out to prequels.
Yeah.
There's like
You
so
could
much
branch out. I mean, the way this is set up, I mean, this could be its
the
own. We were talking about the Massive Verse earlier. This could be like the
yeah
next like big indie
yeah
like
yeah.
comic
I'm,
series.
there is a page where it just tied in with a bunch of other indie heroes, which was a really cool shot. Uh, but yeah, this was just this single comic alone, and we don't even really get a lot of the characters' names. All we had was the protagonist, the Neon, our hero here. All we get is his first name is Ray,
Yeah.
and no, yeah, it's Ray, yeah, Ray, and we don't get a last name, but and most of the comic focuses on Detective Riku Ellis, and it takes place in a futuristic, so obviously cyber's in the title, cyberpunkish style New Miami. Do you want to go into a little backstory about how it all started off here? About the cybers? Do you want me to take it?
Why don't you take it from here?
All right, I'll take it. So when it opens up with a little backstory about how we got to where we are now in this story. So the humans developed these things called cybers. They were robots to reduce casualties or dangerous situations such as wildfires, military combat. Then corporations tried to make money off of it, so they started using it for mundane tasks as cutting grass, taxi drivers, this, that. They were being used for everything. And then a mysterious virus broke out and gave them all sentience, causing like a robot revolution. Think Terminator. So then there was a whole robot war. There was a robot cyber insurgency, is what they were called. They were called cybers, and they got wiped out. They wiped them all out with EMPs. And now we're 25 years later in New Miami, and we open up. Police are outside an Altman Enterprise factory, and a few weeks prior, there was a breakout at the Altman Labs where the first cybers seen in over 25 years appeared. And at this labs, we see our hero. Well, we didn't see it, but they told us in the story that Neon was also there. And he was fighting them, but he ended up getting the blame for the return of the cybers. So now Neon is the most wanted criminal in New Miami and the country.
I
So
mean, you look at him, he kind of does look a little cyber-ish. He could
Yes,
be
because
robotic. You don't
well,
know.
yeah, well, all cyber style equipment and devices were also made illegal too to prevent any sort of robot outbreak again. So even if he's not necessarily a robot, his suit is illegal.
Yeah, and it is an awesome looking suit. I mean, I love the
Uh,
color. I mean, I
yes,
love the color so much. And clearly, I redid our whole thing to be
yeah.
themed for cyber.
I mean, it gives me like some like when I just think of a synthwave album cover when I see the colors on it.
Yeah, and I really gotta say that. I mean, the colors were done by Chris Jones. Did a fantastic job in this whole
And
comic.
Wilsur did the art
Yeah,
for it.
and
Absolutely
the
great.
the lighting on it was so well done. Really appreciated all the work that had gone into it. Oh, and I also did want to mention that letters were done by Nikki Powers as well.
Yes.
Which I mean, really good job on the lettering here. Nothing really stood out, and it gave people voice the way that the lettering was done. I really appreciated that. But it opens up with our lead detective here, and Detective Riku Ellis, and
Yes.
he's kind of like the badass cop stereotype.
Yeah, he's the lone wolf. He's like he's like everyone's standing outside this warehouse. They're like, oh, he's like, what the hell is everyone standing around for? They're like, oh, there's cybers inside and Neon's in there fighting. It's like, oh, Neon's in there. He's like, all right, I'm going in, and they're like, well, CED's supposed to be coming in, and CED is the cyber execution department, I believe.
Yeah, department, or yeah, I think it's department.
Cyber execution is part of the first part,
Yeah.
but he's like, I'm not waiting for him. He's like, I'm not listening to some billionaire to tell me what to do. So he goes in, and these two cops are kind of like having a conversation as we see Riku going through this lab, and he's right off the bat he's confronted by three cybers, and the one cop's like, "What's this guy's problem?" They're like, he's supposed to be like a superior, and he's not listening to orders. He's not setting a good example. The guy's like, "You don't understand. He was part of the cyber insurgency back when the cybers were around." He's a good cop. He's like, just because he's defying orders doesn't mean he's a bad cop. He's not doing this for bad. He's doing it for good. He's going to do whatever it takes to protect this city. And then it cuts to him fighting the cybers. He takes out these three cybers, no problem. Moves through this factory warehouse and comes upon Neon fighting a whole nother group of
Yeah.
cybers. And we cut to Neon. He's got a Netrunner, which is, if you've played Cyberpunk, I don't know if it's a common term outside of Cyberpunk, but I'm a big Cyberpunk fan, Edge Runners fan, and a Netrunner in there is pretty much like your man behind the computer, as you would call it. They're usually their hacker. They're taking out all
The
security
man in the
cameras.
van.
Yeah, yes, the man in the van is what you would call him.
Yeah.
But the more futuristic name, and it's a cooler name too. I
Yeah.
like that
It's
part of it better than
definitely cooler than man in a
Man in
van.
the Van.
But for,
Down by the river.
yeah.
um, yeah, so he's got a little hacker working with him, and she's like, oh, you got Ellis on him, and he's like, oh, I wonder if he's still on our side, and she's like, well, you did save his life last time, so Ellis was there, I guess, the first time Neon was seen at the Altman laboratory a few weeks prior when the other cybers broke out. So Altman begins helping Neon fight these cybers, and they're kind of going back and forth, and Ellis is like, I tried to clear your name, but he's like, there's higher ups with more money that don't want that to be. And while this is going on, the Netrunner is like, yo, your bounty's been doubled now. You're 2 billion chips. I believe chips was the currency that it was now.
Yeah, it's chips.
Chips bounty, and he's like, really? And so while she's talking to him, she's like, all right, I'm figured it out. They're protecting some sort of room at the back of this warehouse. They don't want you to see. There's some sort of power source there. And but these things, they just keep respawning. So it turns out each of these cybers is like a respawn point, and they kind of, you kill one and it just comes back onto the next cyber. So she's like, as long as there's still one cyber, they're just going to keep spawning and spawning and spawning.
Yeah.
So then he begins to charge up this, what was it called, the neon slash or something like that, or a cyber slash. And
I don't know
she's
if
like, you
they
don't even.
name it
It said like some sort
Speed
of.
Slash.
Yes, speed slash.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. And she's like, you don't even know if that's gonna work. And he's like, well, I have one shot at it. And then during this whole banter between the three of them, Neon puts her on speaker, kind of, so that Ellis could hear. He's like, she's like, what do you? She says something like, you. There wasn't a manual that came with the suit. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, you. She's like, well, I got this suit off of another guy whose name we learn is Shotaro Otomo, who's the creator and owner of the suit previously. Um, so he does this slash crazy move, takes out all the cybers. They get to this back room, and there's a big, huge cyber guy that goes by the name Mendelix, and he kind of gives his whole bad guy dialogue, saying, "Oh, you know about death," hinting that he killed Shotaro, and he did apparently. I have a theory about that one. We'll get to that at the end.
Yeah.
So the two of them fight. Shotaro, not Shotaro, Ray, who's current Neon, goes to punch him, and Shotaro kind of like just takes the punch. Is like, really, that's all you got? He's like, all that power, and that's what you do. And Shotaro kind of just disappears. And then we cut to like these two beings in cyberspace, kind of like talking about the fight. Like, oh, I really wish he would have taken care of Neon. And they're all kind of concerned. They have these big plans, and they're the ones behind it. And they're talking about how they were exiled for years. So I'm assuming they were exiled at the end of the insurgency, and these are previous cybers. And it's pretty cool. They're in like this, like I said, they're in like a cyberspace area. So if you've played Cyberpunk like I have, they have something called the old net, which is, I'm assuming, is sort of similar to this, where it's like a virtual space, and there's some AIs in there, and also some stored consciousnesses of previous people. And I'm assuming maybe that's what these two are. I'm not quite sure. But we get a little show, and we see some of the other heroes from other indie comics. They're like, oh, you know, Neon could be like them, and it pops up on the screen. I'm sure when we get a physical copy, it's going to be a really cool 2-page spread.
Yeah.
The way the picture was in the digital
Yeah.
file.
Digital, you know, doesn't do it justice.
It looks really cool. It's a sweet picture.
Yeah.
I believe Steve shared it out though on his Twitter before.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to see it in person. I mean, it's cool on the tablet, and the colors are great, but I want to get the book in my hand, because what's really cool is they also give you like a little like legend where you can
of all the heroes.
Shouts out all the projects and everything, so you can go check them out.
Yeah, I started going through today. Oh my god, I just follow all these people.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of cool things I didn't even know about were shouted out. So
yeah,
it's really cool.
No, it's just crazy the indie comic scene right now, and we've been diving into it, and just so many of the good comics that we've been reading lately are indie comics.
Yeah.
And so we have these two beings talking. They're talking about Metalix kind of failing them. Metalix shows up, and he's like, he doesn't really say much, really.
No.
Metalix. It's really these two kind of like just talking about Neon, and they don't want their plans ruined. Also, another factor I forgot to mention was the Altman, who's the owner of the factory and the warehouse. He gets a phone call from the one cop that was kind of annoyed that Ellis went in and was like, yo, listen, the plans are gotten a little more complicated. Ellis head in there before the CED, and he's kind of pissed off that he's giving Neon some backup, because I think he kind of says he wants this Neon eliminated, so I'm assuming he's the one that's put the bounty out on Neon or helped double it.
Yeah, I think that's what the implication is.
Yeah. And now the CD's on scene, and uh, the Netrunner was like, "Listen, man, you got to get out of there because not only are they taking you out for their job, but they got $2 billion on your head. If whoever gets that kill, they get in 2 billion chips." So Neon runs to his motorcycle. He calls midnight, and Ellis kind of takes a shot at him. He's like, "What are you, a kid?" And it takes off. Kind of ends with the chase. Uh, Cut back to these two beings in the cyberspace talking still, and they're saying that while they were watching Neon, they detected another energy source. And the final picture is a big reveal. They're like, "Oh, should we take him out or try to turn him to our side?" They're like, "I don't know. I think we should take him out just in case he decides he wants to be a hero like him." And we get a big reveal of another suited being,
All
and
gold.
it's all gold. Looks like it's holding like a boomerang blade or something almost. So, what are your theories on this one?
I don't know if I don't know if it's a hero from another dimension. I don't know if it's the original Neon. It's definitely something that I'm like that ending was like, oh, we're ending here. I wanted to know more.
That's what I was gonna say. My theory was I think it is Shotaro in that suit. Maybe.
We don't know yet.
As far as Neon knows, is the original owner of the Neon suit was killed. Um, just really cool. I want to know the Netrunner's name. I don't know if I missed it somewhere. I've read the comic 2 times, and I didn't pick up her name anywhere. And all we got for Neon's suit holder was Ray. The only person whose name we get the full name of is Ellis, Riku Ellis, and Shotaro Otamo, the previous suit owner.
Yeah. So, I had done some research prior to this, and I do see that there is an issue 0 for this comic book.
Oh,
that wasn't on the Kickstarter.
Oh.
The only issue is it's print on demand only. You can't get the digital version of it.
Okay.
But it's not very expensive. It's $5. So I'm probably gonna end up ordering this and seeing if there's more backstory.
Right. I had no clue.
Yeah, neither did I. It was just right before we started recording. I saw this. So I'm probably gonna end up ordering it. And we'll be able to see. I'm very excited for that. But I have a lot of expectations for this series. I really hope the next issue is just as successful, or if not more, than the first one. The art is amazing. The colors are amazing. I think that they are doing a really good job with the story. It really sucks you in, and so much so that he was like part of like this like heroes compendium book where he just has like a short story in it. And I just bought it just based on him being involved with it.
Oh,
I was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the writing's really good, and I'm just very excited. So I just want more, and if there's any way that I can support, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, like the Ellis Neon relationship already seems like a Batman Gordon type of thing. Like Ellis is like, I'm gonna kind of work with you, even though I'm not supposed to be. He's like, I know you're the good guy. Everyone wants you gone, though.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. And there's the common writer inspirations for the
it's very
awesome.
like 0 Railway era common writer inspired.
That's why I'm like, I really can't wait for this. I have all the Common Rider 01 comics now. I think I'm gonna start reading those just because of this. I haven't got a chance to read them yet, and this made me want to get like more. And like I said, I'm a really big Cyberpunk fan. I'm on my second playthrough of it, and with the Phantom Liberty thing, I'm all into the Cyberpunk stuff, and the Cyberpunk references in here were really cool with the constructs in the cyberspace thing. I'm assuming it's Cyberpunk references. I don't know if these references have been done outside Cyberpunk, but awesome, absolutely awesome, great, just great world. And like I said, the art is incredible. I was when you told me how great this was, I was like, damn, he's really excited about this comic.
Yeah.
And so you set the bar really high for me going in. I was like, I'm scared that he overhyped this comic for me, but damn, this is really good. Yeah.
It really
Uh,
is. I'm like, I'm just waiting for this issue 1 to actually ship out so we can launch issue 2.
yeah, yeah. They sound like that's what they said. As soon as we get issue 1 out there, we're ready to go for issue two's
Yeah.
launch. And he's got the plans already. I'm just super excited for
Yeah. I
it.
mean, usually we would wait for printed issues to be out before we'd review it.
I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna wait
No,
now.
no, not at all. This is a
No.
must read immediately.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I'm gonna have the. I think as soon as that file drops, I'm gonna be like, all right.
Yeah.
I don't care where I
Yeah,
am.
hopefully maybe on the second Kickstarter they'll throw issue 1 in as like a bonus or as like a higher tier or an add-on or something. I'm
No,
probably
sure
gonna
they
order the
will.
print one, but I do like a digital comic, especially for the
Yes,
colors on this.
yes.
Yeah,
It's so good.
it really, really is.
So, so keep an eye out on Steve Coburn, and check out. I believe I usually once I back something on Kickstarter, you could follow the person that founded that campaign. So you can even follow him on Kickstarter as well, besides Twitter. Uh, and we'll share that all in the comments down below, all
Yeah,
his
yeah. I think
info.
he has Instagram and all that stuff too, and so
Yeah,
does
so that way,
Wilsur and everybody else.
yeah, that way, whenever a project goes live, or even if they back a project, you'll know what they're into. So it's really cool. I follow everybody on Kickstarter too.
Yeah.